Welcome back to the cricket betting podcast for crickstats.ai. I'm Ed Hawkins. This is the only podcast which tells you exactly what happens in the biggest cricket matches. And we've got three to decipher and more's galore. Let's say hi to Richard Mann of sportinglife.com. Hello, Richard.
Evening, Ed.
Good to see you. And hello to Paul Krishnamurty.
Hi, Ed.
Okay, we often start with good week, bad week, but let's start with good day. VIP followers in Cloverpool after what has been a marvellous Monday. Just fill us in.
Yeah, really good day. Three bets, three winners. First of all, UAE to get more sixes than Oman, which absolutely hosed up 7-1, I think it was, in the end. We did under 10.5 sixes in the Sri Lanka-Hong Kong game. That one easy enough, I think about 6 or 7, I think it was. And then we had the two Sri Lanka openers to be top match batsmen, and Pat Nissanka won that with 68. So perfect day. Regarding the wider picture, though, lots happened since the last show. Most notably the CPL. Some real mixed fortunes there. So I've got to say, gutted about St Kitts not finishing bottom. They were 4 points from 8, and then they won their last two to avoid finishing bottom. It really looks unlikely. They did it with low scores. The critical game was Barbados. If they'd lost that, they would have been bottom. Barbados needed 151. They were 42 to 0. Very short odds. So very, very stupid. On the plus side, though, all is not lost because I did on the best bets at start. I did some finalists, put them in the free Telegram group, and I got 14 to 1 on Guyana St Lucia final. So I will have a saver on qualifier 2 when we know they're playing. Hopefully that will be who's playing who. Hopefully the loser will be playing Antigua and Barbuda, and I will update with a saver then.
Yeah, we've got CPL on this show as well. We're going to be talking about what happens in Caribbean Premier League, looking at that outright and some numbers for you to update on what these teams are like, the last four. Richard, we could gripe about near misses as well, just in case people think we're arrogant. Some nasty beats, a run of them since we were last on. Which one particularly stands out for you?
Well, I mean, the last weekend, the English domestic season didn't really finish well for us and for me. I think there was a game where Riley Meredith we needed another wicket and he didn't even bowl his full quarter for Somerset, leading wicket taker in the Blast throughout the season. So that was a kick in the teeth, and we've had a few like that. But I definitely, hopefully, things are changing. Just want to update on the best bets. I put Guyana up to win the comp. 2 points at 9-2. I don't want to say they're there, but they're nearly in the final. If you get to the final, I'll update in the free channel. Probably look to lay just a stake back at around even money, 5 to 6, depending on what they are, should they get that far. So hopefully we've got some nice profit coming from there as well. And I have to say, Paul's grounds guide to the Asia Cup has been really good as well. Dubai, in particular, we've had a couple of really low-scoring matches, well, low-scoring first innings there. Even Pakistan on Friday playing one of the minnows, and they only got 160. That was way, way below par line. Very profitable. So things are looking up.
Yeah, no more bad beats this week. The three games we look for the best value are Ireland versus England in a T20. Then we are off to the Asia Cup with UAE versus Pakistan. We'll look at that game, and Guyana Amazon Warriors versus St Lucia Kings. The winner goes straight to the final. So we will decipher that match as well. Teams, pitch reports, stats, nuggets, player win rates for those three. Now, this is important. Normally, we do best bets at the end of the show, but because we are waiting on prices from bookmakers for some of these games, we're going to be posting them in the free Telegram channel and VIP. Richard and Paul normally have 5 units each to spend. So get signed up to those channels below in the comments, and the best bets will be published there once we get the odds confirmed. That'll be straight to your phone via the Telegram channel. So sign up to those in the comments. Let's start with our first game. It's Ireland versus England, 13:30 on Wednesday from Malahide in Dublin. 9-1 Ireland, generally England 14s on with Betfred's Fred X Boyle. No rain forecasts currently as we record. That's the big news, I think, for this one. We've got some team news as well for Ireland. There's no Josh Little or Mark Adair, which is, well, they're bad blows, I think, in terms of making this a competitive heat. But they could line up something like this. Ross Adair opening the batting, Sterling, Tector, Tucker, Campher, Dockrell, Callitz, the wicketkeeper batsman being used as ballast in that middle order, Delaney, McCarthy, Young and Hume. England, Salt, Butler, Bethel, who captains this team, Cox, Sam Curran, Jax Rahan, Jay Overton, Rashid Wood and Baker. Paul, shock incoming or not?
Well, first of all, it's very confident of you that there's no rain around. I was having a look. It depends on the forecast. There is some at 5, 6 a.m. in the morning. So it could very well change. Like, as the last week showed, September's a really awful time, isn't it, for cricket in England and Ireland? But hopefully we'll get a proper game. As for the shock, no. I've really gone cold on Ireland in the last year. Thought they were poor at the World Cup. I mean, look, case for them would be that England are a side of extremes, as we've just seen against South Africa. 130 all out in the ODI, then 400, and then they make 300 in the T20. And like the Test side, they are just the side of extremes. But I think probably they're well set after the South Africa series, and they're going to really dominate this match.
Yeah, Rich, no Mark Adair, no Little. They're two really big players. I mean, we've probably been backing Mark Adair for top bat. How do we play Ireland?
Yeah, I mean, it looks a mismatch, and I'm with Paul. Ireland have probably been a bit disappointing, really, over the last couple of years. All I would say is, and I agree with what Paul says about this England side being a team of extremes. This is the end of a real long summer for all of these England players, even the fringe players. You look at someone like Sam Curran and Cox, and you think, well, they're going to be hungry to come in and prove a point, but they've had the Blast and the County Championship and the 100. And I just wonder, in Ireland, we keep hearing what a great tour it is for these England players. Brendan McCullum isn't here, by the way. He's gone home to New Zealand. Marcus Trescothick will be coaching the side. And I just wonder, golf courses, Guinness, whether this will be a little bit of an end-of-season party for the England players. I really do believe that with this culture. That's not to say they won't win the series as a whole 3-0. But I just wonder if later on in the series they might be vulnerable, or there might be a poor performance in there anyway. They might well get away with it because it's a class golf, but there might be a scare along the way because I'm not sure they'll be as dialed in as Ireland. For Ireland, this is their World Cup final, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't like Jacob Bethel captaining England. I don't like anybody captaining a national side when they've got, well, almost nothing behind them in the game in terms of achievement. That's just a fact. Bethel's a talented player, but he's not even scored a first-class century, so don't know how you reward a guy with the leadership of your country. Pitch data, is that our angle? First innings average last 10 at Manhide is 176. There's no toss bars. 14.60 average sixes per match. India made 225 in 2022, and they won only by 5 runs. They made 185, India batting first in the game in 2023. Paul, it's often feels great to go against the tide. England's runs line will be through the roof. Do you play unders and try to be really canny?
I mean, Rich has just made a really good case there. Why it probably should, it could be worth doing that. You could see them going in a little bit undercooked, too much Guinness the night before or whatever, right? And it's going to be huge. I mean, the line on Betfair right now is 191.5, and that's with the caveat that they might have to chase less than the bet loses. So I think you're going to see the line's going to be 215 if they bat first, which I think is the highest we've ever seen. I think we saw it on that road in Hyderabad, 215 in the IPL. I think that's pretty much where it was. And you're going to get because of what happened last time against South Africa, you're going to get people betting them all the way up to 300. So yeah, I mean, if you can get under 180, if I'm right and it's 215, you're probably going to be able to lay 180 at like 1.2, 1.25. And that's probably, or 170 at 1.1, 1.12. That's probably worth a little punt.
Nuggets from you, Richard, and then back to Paul.
I found it quite hard to be honest, but I did think the Ireland bowlers who can bat are interesting in the player performance markets, and one who can definitely bat is Barry McCarthy. He's got a T20 international 50, 6 wickets in his last three T20 internationals as well. He could bat 8. You've got him at 9. And his line's 20.5 with Paddy Power Betfair Sports, but you'd need a wicket or he may need a wicket and a run or 11 runs and a catch even if he doesn't get a wicket. I just thought it was very low for someone who's probably going to be needed with the bat.
Anything to add, Paul?
I like that. I like that a lot. That's a good bet. That he can bet Barry McCarthy. I'm thinking over 9.56s for England. I think it's a road, and I think Ireland are decent enough if they bat first to get to 150, 160, something like that. In which case, that 9.5 would still be doable. I think if they bat first, it'd probably be easily past that.
Okay. We do have some players to follow for Ireland on win rates, actually. This is last 2 years. They've got a nice chunky study sample. Craig Young, 30% win rate on top bowler back in the day on the old cob. I think people remember we've spoken about Young before. He's won for us before, 3-1 Paddy Power, Betfair Sportsbook, Sky Bet. As I said, 30% win rate. That's a big old chunk in our favour. Tucker, 5s with Betfair Sportsbook, Paddy Power, Sky Bet, winning 23% of the time, top bat. And then 10 bet go 14s with Delaney, 2 wins from 16 on top bat. Butler, another bad beat for us actually in the week. What is it, 83 off 30 when we backed him at 11-4 top run score, and then Phil Salt produced that extraordinary innings. Butler is overdue. He didn't win in that T20 series. Say win. He won, but the bet was void because there weren't enough overs in the first match. He's won 38% of the time on the study filter. 11-4 again, Bet365 priced up Star Sports. I'm inclined to have a rest with Butler and see what transpires. Richard, players for you?
Yeah, and with Young, top Ireland bowler, obviously with the 2 big guns missing, his strike rate at 16.3 is much the best in this Ireland squad. He's just a bowler I've always liked. I mentioned earlier about Guinness and England being vulnerable later in the series. I think Butler will start this series, but I do wonder if someone like Salt and Butler might miss a game later on. So obviously we won't do a podcast for another week now. So just keep an eye on that top England batsman market. Sam Curran might get a go at 3 later in the series, or they want to try these guys out, don't they? So don't bank on it being Butler and Salt up top all series. There might be a change and you might be able to get ahead of the market.
Yeah, Banton may well come into that team as well, actually. Paul, players to follow?
Yeah, you listed them all actually there. I mean, I think 11-4 Butler's huge. That's absolutely huge, given they're playing a much weaker size and they could be chasing a low total. Plus, I know we said there's no rain forecast, but I'm not ruling out a short match. Lorcan Tucker 5-1 is value definitely on the numbers. And so is Delaney. I looked at Delaney today. He's always a solid bet about 12, 14-1. Just also, I looked on the player runs. I think I'd rather do this actually. 15.5 for Lorcan Tucker. That's pretty low, really, for a good player who does well against the better sides. And also 13.5 for Curtis Campher.
Yeah.
Pretty solid batsman. Very low.
I looked at Camper earlier, off a massive 100 in the one-day cup as well about 3 weeks ago. Looked brilliant. I watched that innings, super knock. I was interested in him top bat, but I'm just not sure he'll bat high enough. I'm with Ed. I think he'll bat 5 and probably 13-2. I thought was short enough for that.
Honourable mention to Ross Adair, who's got a T20 ton as well against South Africa. When I give it a right, I'll crack up top. So plenty for Ireland to be keen on. Right, we're going to move on. We've got UAE versus Pakistan to come. We've got the CPL outright check and Guyana versus St. Lucia Kings to come. Get subbed up to that VIP Telegram channel now in the comments below. Don't miss out. We're working hard and sweating to find those best bets. We do take it very seriously indeed. All bets are discussed between each of us before they are published. Not all of them get through. Paul, we're also looking at adding a sort of community forum type thing to the channels, which details are going to be revealed at in time. So folks can discuss bets, share info, and three of us will drop in every now and again. We're talking about that today, won't we?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, as you say, we're not entirely sure of the format. It's a work in progress, but the general idea is to sort of just grow this cricket betting forum thing. And I mean, first of all, the obvious advantage to that, as we see with ourselves, you can never have enough brains together. You can never have enough brainstorming. There's so many angles with cricket, particularly in running. And I mean, obviously, we're not all going to be there 24/7. We can't be. We've all got lives like everyone else. But I think this could be a really good opportunity for things like during the Ashes, for instance, when, we're up all night, we can just generally have a chat and contribute a little bit with how we see things, what might, what bets might be coming up. I mean, one thing that I've sort of found that we're putting up in play bets, particularly in T20, it's difficult because it's all very well me saying, right, back in 210 or more now. If there's a six the next ball, the price has gone, isn't it? Before anyone's even read it. So it's probably better I think it's more useful in that situation if one of us is watching and we've got an opinion, to just say, look, we like the pitch, we're looking here to back overs, keep an eye out. If you're in the VIP, keep an eye out. There could be a bet coming very soon. And there'll be a bit more time to get on.
Yeah. And also get signed up to crickstats.ai so you can use all this betting data, the same betting data that we're smashing our heads together with to try and find those best bets for you. Some really great stats on there on teams, players, first innings averages, everything, basically everything you need to be successful as a cricket bettor is all there. So use the code POD25 for a discount on that sign up at crickstats.ai. Let's move to United Arab Emirates versus Pakistan on Wednesday, 15:30. Dubai, the venue. UAE 12s with Bet Goodwin. Pakistan 16s on with Bet MGM. UAE could line up like this. Sharafoon Wasim, that's Mohammad Wasim, the opening bat who we highlighted in the Asia Cup preview show as being the man to follow and has delivered on top bat as we record. Asif Khan, Sohaib Kaushik, Chopra, Rahul Chopra, got a feel for him for top bat at some stage, but obviously he's run out of time, so it needs to be now. Parashah, Haider, Jordullah, Siddique, and Rohid. Pakistan, Ayad Farhan, Harris, Fakhar Zaman, Salman, Agar, skipper, Hassan Nawaz, Mohammad Nawaz, Fahim, Afridi, Sufyan Hakim, and Abdullah Ahmed. Dubai pitch report. Trying to decipher this and we'll get Paul's view on it. Last 10, there's a 60% bias for the team batting first. In the last 30, that drops to 41.7, so it's been better to chase over a longer study period. But Richard, I'm quite keen on getting Pakistan beat here. I don't like what's happening with the Pakistan camp, this distraction of handshakes against India and trying to get the match referee chucked out. They're flaky at the best of the times. UAE may be growing into the tournament. Are you going to shoot me down?
No, I completely agree. And to anyone listening, genuinely, we haven't done this before. They've been so bad. I thought they'd do okay as well, our hands up, but they've been so bad so far. 160 against Oman. Fair enough, the bye pitch was tricky, but they were so negative against India. 127 batting first. They didn't play a shot in anger till about 15 overs, and then it was Shaheen Afridi at the end who was doing all the hitting. They might not have even got 100, 110 were it not for him. Just no bravery with the bat, and you're not going to win many T20s like that. UAE have been okay. Look, there should be a class gulf here, but I'm not so sure, and I'd be tempted to throw a few quid at the shock here. You never know.
Paul, what do we make of this conflicting toss bias? I mean, we go with the longer study period, don't we? And do we consider perhaps maybe UAE as a trade with that in their favour, or are we just going to be bold and stick with small stakes on UAE?
I think it's. I completely agree. It strengthens it if they're chasing. The longer study is massive bias. It's even more. You said 40 games, I think. Did you say 30 games? I think mine's 40, and it's a 2-1 advantage to the chaser. And if you go back and you go back through the IPL when it was here and the World Cup, it's absolutely massive. It's one of the biggest biases on any ground, the chaser. So I'd absolutely be interested. Plus, you've also got to look there. It does look like a low runs ground. So the chaser's likely to shorten up anyway. I think it's a no-brainer back in UAE. I mean, look, this is a tricky pitch. Sri Lanka only just got up today, chasing 150 against Hong Kong. UAE are, for my money, easily the best to the minnows, easily the best, as they showed today against Oman. They played okay against Pakistan, Bangladesh. Stranger things have happened, and Pakistan have been turned over by many a small team over the years. And I
I,
think it's a much like they've upset an island.
I feel a pitch like this just brings a poor bowling attack into the game a little bit more. They can close that gap on a surface like this, tacky, slow. Um, yeah, that's my
And
two
if
penneth.
just one, you can win it with one good innings. If it's like this, they have got capable batsmen who can hit boundaries, right? Score quickly. They've shown that. Who have experience in international T20 cricket, franchise cricket. If Wasim goes out and hits 50 off 20 or something, and he can, absolutely, that's a massive, that puts them right in the game, doesn't it?
Sure does. I think we've got some consensus on UAE as being value. They are, as I said, 12s with Bet Goodwin. That's standout. So you can probably, if you can't get on there, you might have to take a little less, but we'll also be bearing in mind bet for exchange prices. You might get 12s or maybe bigger there. Any other business on Nuggets with this game before we move on to players to follow? Richard and then Paul.
Well, I think we'll be the same, but if Pakistan bat first, I'd be low on runs. I mean, they only made 160, as I said, against Oman on Friday. That was way below par, and I still think it'll be a pretty high line for this one as well. So if Pakistan bat first, I'd be betting below under on the par line.
Paul?
Yeah, Rich, can I just ask that innings? Were you watching the runs market? Because that must have been really big price in running under
Yeah,
165 or under 170. Because they
yeah,
looked they were on 200 at one point.
yeah. I actually bet at the start. I'm trying to get the my account history up now, and I can't do it quickly enough. But yeah, it was like I think the par was something like 190-ish. Let me.
Mm.
Might come back to Richard when he's got
You're probably
his numbers.
talking five
Power
to
was like
one,
180, 185 looking at these. Yeah.
and
Okay.
then it went up. It went up though, didn't it? Because they got a good start. So I'm
Yeah.
thinking, well, the thing that struck me about it, I didn't see the exact number, but just like the England game last week, yet more proof that just back the extremes. It happens so frequently.
Yeah, I did actually want to talk about this because I thought Friday was a really good illustration. So 175 Pakistan first innings runs was 8-13 in that game, right? So you had that ex pretty much extreme unders there. And then a few hours later, you had over at Old Trafford 300 being breached, and 215 went off 4-1 at Old Trafford on Friday night. So two extremes at completely opposite ends of the scale. But once again, it highlighted what we have been saying about the runs in T20. When you get the right conditions, pretty much anything is possible. And I mean, God knows what 250, 260 was at Old Trafford on Friday night.
Any odds? And also, let's also not forget the first England South Africa ODI,
Yeah.
where England's par line was 330 and they got 130.
Yeah.
So you could probably gone 101 under 200 or something, right? And if you do these things, you've only got to have a few winners and you've covered the whole year,
Yeah.
haven't you? Sorry, just on this thing, one thing I was going to say, I did know this is why one of the reasons I'm waiting for prices. I want to see what the handicap is Yeah, I want to see what Bet 365 and other firms who do that put up for the handicap here for Pakistan UAE, because I could definitely be tempted into UAE on that. It's generous.
Yeah, that might be perhaps an easier way, perhaps more solid bets than taking the big risk. Let's look at players to follow. I've got a note on Mukim for top bowler for Pakistan. He's underrated on win rate. Kuldeep Ramrat versus UAE. So there's a bit of an issue against top class spin, and Mukim is the same bowling style as Kuldeep. 7-2 power. Betfair Sports, Sky Bet Style Sports priced up. I've got Salman Aga at 13-2. Generally, I've got him as 4-1 chance. Rich, what have you got?
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree about Salman. He's the best player. Abra Ahmed took 4 for 9 against UAE earlier in the month, actually, in the try series. So he'd probably do for me top Pakistan bowler.
Paul.
Well, just my first thing I was going to say was I think that there's an advantage to the openers here. I think this pitch slows up, right? So I definitely want to be looking at Ayub or Farhan, probably Farhan. He didn't do it in the last game, but I think we identified that he's big value on the player to score most sixes, because he's averaging like something like 1.67 his last 10. And you mentioned about the spin, them not being able to play spin. That's a good call, McKean. Simon Yubdo might also be a nice price. He's been bowling okay, taking a few wickets.
Yes.
Could be. I haven't checked that out.
Right. A reminder also to please give us some love on the pod provider of your choice, and also sign up to Crick Stats to get all the best betting data, and you can do that with that discount code POD25, so don't miss out on that. It's still available. Here we go now to the Caribbean Premier League. We're in the playoff stage. It's Trinbago Knight Riders versus Falcons in the first eliminator, so loser is out, and that's basically taking place when this podcast is filling your ears. So we're going to look at Guyana versus Kings instead and do a deep dive on that game. The outright, as we record, has Guyana favourites finally at 6-4 with 365 Ladbrokes Boyle, Betway Coral. We said they should be favourites, and it's taken this long for them to get that favourites status. Kings next best, 7-4 Ladbrokes. Trinbago 9-2, 365, Falcons 9-1 with Ladbrokes. On the bat ball rankings, so Kings are your best batting side in terms of run rate. Guyana the most economical with the ball. Falcons second best with the ball. TKR run rate with bat and ball is identical, so they are probably the personification of a shrug, I think. Trinbago and Falcons have to win 3 in a row from here to win the tournament. But the big question is, Paul and Richard, we were absolutely mad keen on Guyana. Richard's already mentioned a best bet on them at 9-2 to win the outright. But I also think big bet in VIP on them to make the final, if I recall, and probably one of our biggest bets so far. So do Guyana make it, Richard, and then Paul?
Yes.
All right. Yes. I'm just going to say, I mean, this was the point of the bet, was to get into this position, though, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Right. We knew that they were valued, that there was a golfing class between the teams, and they were going to be playing the finals in Providence, so they have an advantage. Long way to go still, but it's definitely value.
There we go. I think it was a 3-pointer around about 9-4. So we're keeping fingers crossed for Guyana to get it done. Will they do it in one, or will they have to go and play the winner of that Trinbago Falcons game? Given that they lost to Falcons only a few days ago at home, we obviously rather they did it quickly. But 5-6 they are to win this game against Kings and make the final with 10 bet. St. Lucia Kings even money generally. Providence is the venue, of course, 0100 Thursday hours. It's 1 apiece on the head-to-head this season. Guyana have won 18 of the last 27 at Providence. Kings have won 2 of those. I think they've won 2 of 4 as well. Guyana lining up something like this: McDermott, Sampson opening the batting now. I can't go on about that 100-1 chance. Have I mentioned that yet?
I
No,
don't think, not on here, I don't think.
no, you haven't.
uh, with the pitfalls of finding value, and just reiterating how timing is everything. We backed this guy Quinton Sampson at 100 to 1 for Top Guyana bat in a game. He fell short by 7 runs. He was then cut to 11s because obviously all the followers had smashed into the price. He was promoted to opening batting, of course, in the very next game, and that is when he won. So he is on the hate list. Anyway, Hope, Hetmeyer, Shepherd, Pretorius, Moeen, Brooks. That's Shamar Brooks' sort of floating role. If they get into trouble early on, he'll come in, probably maybe 3, 4. If they get into trouble, I think I saw 12 to 1 top back for him. Moti, Shamata here. And King, Seifert, Charles, August, Chase, David, Potgaita, Jones, Beatzer, Pierre, Gaston, Shamsi, Alzari, Joseph is out of the start, which is probably never a bad thing. He's so unreliable. Let's work out this Providence pitch, Paul. Last 10 first innings average is 165, 60% chase bias, 180 busted in the last 2 first innings. What is your pitch view?
Well, look, you can't state this with any confidence because we've seen such extremes. 2 of the pitches were absolutely terrible, 130, 135 pitches at best. And then the others were all okay, without being brilliant. They were okay, they were high enough scoring. So obviously there's a lot of different squares at Providence. I think it's probably worth considering what's happened in the 3 years since Providence has had the finals. So last year we had 3 good pitches and then a poor one in the final. In 2023, we had 2 of each, 2 good, 2 bad. And in 2022, we had 3 good, 1 bad. So that makes me think that this is going to be a decent pitch. It's when they played each other before, they both scored 200, right? And that has happened this pitch before. And St. Lucia are, for me, a really good batting side, best batting side in it. So for me, the value here is both teams to score. I mean, 170, 5 to 2, 180, 5 to 1. 190, 10 to 1, 200, 22 to 1. Win or lose, I think that's a bit of value.
Yeah. I mean, the 200 is big. I mean, I was surprised by the 170. Rich, views on this game?
I think Guyana will go through eventually and get to the final, but I do think these are clearly the best 2 sides in the comp, and I do think they are evenly matched. I think they're 2 pretty good sides, so it's definitely an evens game for me. You just wonder about. I think Guyana probably want a turning pitch, don't they, with their battery of spinners, and you would hope, given that I know it's in theory not a home game, but it is, that they will get that. I think that would give them the edge, but it's a close game. It won't be easy for them.
A nugget from each before we move to players to follow, Paul.
I'm going to go St. Lucia, highest opening partnership of 5 to 6. That's Ghana's weakness. I know Sampson has come in and done it in the last couple of games, but that is definitely Ghana's one big weakness. Hence, they keep changing the openers all the time. McDermott's been up and down. Whereas I think that Johnson Charles and Tim Seifert is the standout opening pairing in this competition, has been for a couple of years.
Oh, we're talking about Johnson Charles in a second. Richard?
Yeah, I actually disagree a little bit about both teams to score. I think what the scoring has been all over the place on this ground, but I just don't think earlier in the season it's been as good this season as it was last season. And I think what you have seen historically on this ground is you maybe get a big score in one innings, but then you might get a 90 all out in the second, or the first innings might be 100 all out, and then the team chases it easily. It seems that sort of venue to me. So I really like the Bet365 total match runs playing under. We haven't got a price yet, but I don't know, say if it 330-ish, I'd be playing unders, because even if you get a big first inning score, the second innings might get blown away. If you go back through all the scores, we have had that quite a bit of Providence over the years, so that'd be the bet I'd be keen on. I could see just one crazy low innings in this match. It is hard. It's been a tricky one to weigh up this ground. I was looking earlier and some staggering stuff. And the other way you could play as well, you could play no 50 in the match at 4 to 1 and just have a small stake on that if you think it's you don't, for instance, want to take the 5 to 6 to a decent stake, and you think, well, I'm just going to go that way for smaller money.
Right, players to follow. Hetmar was overdue and copped last time for Guyana. He is a player who can go back to back. That is a definite note about his style. Johnson Charles, we mentioned it might be time for him to return to form. A few blanks, I think it's 4 blanks in a row, but very solid win rate regardless. 18-5 top King's bat with bet. Victor, Paul, players to bet or swerve?
Well, Tabré Shamsi, 3-1 top St. Lucia wicket taker with Dapper bet. He's won 50% of the games, and this is a turning pitch, right? You've got to back Shamsi for me. But I think that the one performance bet that really stands out for me, Dwayne Pretorius at over 30.5. So in all T20 cricket, he's won 18 out of 30. But for Guyana, he's won 15 out of 21. He's beaten that 30.5 line. And also, this is just speculative, but given that one of the possibilities here is it's a really low scoring, like the 2 matches that were, 33-1, 40-1 chemo Paul. If he plays, that's too big, way too big. And although he isn't going to open, Gudakesh Moti could well come up to 5 or 6, does sometimes. He's 80-1. It's worth a nibble.
Right then.
Yeah, I mean, sorry to go again, but we did do Moti at hundreds, didn't we, in the VIP? And he opened the batting. I think he was out first ball, but
yeah,
absolute sickener. Rich.
Well, I keep telling myself I'm going to stop doing them based on batting order hunches, but here we are. Paul's got me excited again. Sheer Hope, 11-4, top Guyana batsman. He's just rock. He's the best bat in the comp. He's rock solid. I suspect he'll top score again before the tournament ends. And I agree with Paul about Shamsi as well. He'll love it here.
Okie doke. This is the bit where we do the best bets, apart from it isn't that bit, because as I said earlier, you've got to get signed up to that free Telegram channel and the VIP Telegram channel as well, if you like to get those 5 units each from Rich and Paul from this podcast, because we're waiting on the prices from the odds makers. So do that now, and we will be publishing those as soon as we get our odds up. And that concludes the cricket betting podcast for another show. We're not going to be here next week because there's a quiet cricket calendar. I know, who'd have thought there wouldn't be much cricket on. So we'll be back the following week. But if you want to keep going with your cricket betting, get signed up to that free Telegram channel and that VIP channel. And also sign up to that Crick Stats betting tool as well to inform your bets with the code POD25. I've been at Hawkins with Richard Mann and Paul Krishnamurty. We'll see you next time on the Cricket Betting Podcast.